Sexually Transmitted Diseases in College Students in Texas by Itzel Fuentes, Adriana Torres, Kennedy Duncan, Alyssa Rodriguez, and Hannah Gonzalez. This presentation is being created for the purpose of providing factual and credible information on the topic of STDs in Texas to other knowledge-seeking individuals and first-year college students attending. This presentation video was not only made to bring attention, awareness, and preventative knowledge to the topic of STDs in our community, but also enforce a call to action on the youth and adults in our Texan community that are sexually active.
You may have heard of an STD, but do you know what it really is? STDs are infections that spread from person to person through any type of sexual intercourse, such as vaginal, anal, and even oral sex. If left untreated, it can cause serious consequences with your health in the future. Examples being loss of eyesight, infertility, and birth defects. An STD specifically affects our reproductive system. In women, the infections may develop, which can then cause infertility since the infection spreads to their fallopian tubes, ovaries, and uterus, causing inflammation and permanent scarring. In the men's reproductive system, it can affect the transport of sperm by causing damage to their testicular tubules, which is where sperm travels. Now let's talk about types of STDs and some of their main symptoms. Curable STDs are syphilis, which cause small sores developed in anus, mouth, or genitals, gonorrhea, which is painful urination, vaginal bleeding after intercourse, and pus-like discharge from the penis, chlamydia, which is pain while having sex and urination discharge of green and yellow fluid from vagina or penis, trichomoniasis, which is discomfort with urination, vaginal discharge with an odd smell. The incurable STDs are hepatitis B, which can cause dark urine, fatigue, nausea, and vomiting. Herpes, which is pain in the genital area, small red bumps or tiny white blisters days after infection. HIV, which is flu-like symptoms such as a sore throat, fever, or chills. And lastly, HPV, which is genital warts and can even cause cervical cancer.
Now that we have discussed what type of symptoms may occur for each STD or STI, we also have to take into consideration that all diseases and infections will show signs and symptoms at a multitude of different time spans. Symptoms and signs can show from as little as 1 day to as long as 90 days. This is important to know because even though you may think you are cleared to engage with another sexual partner after 3 weeks of your previous because you are feeling no signs or symptoms yet, doesn't mean you are not infectious. This is another reason why it is so important to test in between partners to reduce spread of infection.
Many people are unaware of how STDs can be acquired, but there are various possible ways. You can obtain an STD from bacteria, viruses, and parasites, along with through intimate physical contact, and in some cases they can be transmitted from mother to child. Why do you think we see so many STDs within college students? This may be due to the fact that college students engage in a number of high-risk behaviors, such as sex with multiple partners, not using condoms consistently, and consuming alcohol or drugs before engaging in sexual activity. Many college students believe that they will never get an STD, no matter how many times they have unprotected sex. However, this is not the case. To prevent yourself from obtaining an STD, it is recommended to stay with one uninfected partner, frequently get tested, get all vaccinations, use protection, and have effective communication. Although the most effective way to avoid an STD altogether is abstinence.
If you ever find yourself in the predicament where you are diagnosed with an STD or STI, not to fret. There are many treatment options out there, and modern developments have made it possible for many people to access those treatments. Some including expedited partner therapy, where healthcare providers prescribe a medication for the partner without actually examining the other partner. Antibiotics, shots, and oral medications. Usually patients will feel better after a couple of days, although some STDs require lifelong care and treatment.
If we look at the flyer provided, you can tell everything is bigger in Texas, including the prevalence of STDs. As of 2019, Texas has climbed to one of the top states when it comes to sexually transmitted infections across the country.
So your options for testing for STDs, you can go to a private clinic with a primary care physician or OGBYN, local labs which offer direct testing without a doctor's order, and the lab testing fees range from about $8 to $150. You can go to a community clinic, which is a nonprofit organization that offers STD tests for free or even at a low cost, or you can even take tests at home, which will cost you about $35 and $175 per test. And then places you can get tested locally is the Coastal Bend Wellness Foundation, the South Texas Family Planning and Health Corporation, South Texas Substance Abuse Recovery Services, and the Women's and Men's Health Services of the Coastal Bend. And then questions to ask yourself before participating in sexual activity. Is there a difference between STD and STI? How often should you get tested for STDs? Is it true that some STDs have no symptoms at all? If I receive treatment for an STD, does that mean I can't catch it again in the future? Can you get STDs orally? Can you get an STD even if your partner is asymptomatic? Should both of you and your partner get tested before you participate in sexual activity? And are condoms effective against all STDs?
Here at the TAMUCC Health Center, there's testing, treatment, and prevention information available at the Health Center for TAMUCC students. If you're ever scared or nervous about going in, you can also call anonymously at 361-825-2601 for information on how to get anonymous HIV testing.